Hey guys, in this video I'll be showing you guys how to make Shadow Sneak. So the first thing that you want to do here is you want to basically make an effect folder in our event folder, and what we want to put in this event folder, we want to make a remote function. You can name whatever you want. I just named it is Shadow Sneak cooldown, which is going to help us make our cooldown. And this is supposed to be Shadow Sneak, but I just mistyped and I just forgot to change that. So this is supposed to be our Shadow Sneak remote event. And then we're going to have a little effect. I'll put our effect inside the workspace so you can see how it looks like. This effect is inside the effect folder inside of replicated storage. I'm going to remove this now. And basically, that's basically all we need to basically start this off. So all we're going to do now is we're going to create a local script inside starter character scripts. And now all we're going to do here is we're going to define our services. So user input service runs replicate storage and then run service. And then we're gonna get a little func. This func is gonna basically be our remote function that we're gonna be using for our cooldown. Get a player camera, the character. We're gonna have our control toggle. That's gonna be a table that contains 2 Boolean values. We're gonna have body velocity, and then we're gonna have our speed and radius. Whatever you change the speed to, that's how fast it's gonna go. Change the radius, that's how big it's gonna catch the player. We're gonna make our params, and all we're gonna do is we're gonna blacklist the character, so when we make our array, what we don't want to catch an array, which would be ourselves. And then we're gonna make another array, which is basically gonna be our radius. So within the radius, we don't want to see ourselves or the base plate. So I mean, we don't have to have the base plate because we optimize it, so you don't need to have this. But overall, you'll be fine. So we're gonna just leave that there. So blacklist, and then yeah, let's get into the code. So basically what we're going to do here, we're going to fire a function called user input service.input begin. Then we're going to connect the function, and then we're going to put input and is typing, pretty straightforward. And if they're typing, then we're going to return n. So if they're typing while they try to do the input keybind z, then it won't work. Then when they use the keybind z, then we're going to make our toggle 1 equal to true, and our toggle 1 is going to be equal to, when it's equal to true, we're going to set it equal to false. So it's going to be like a toggle on, toggle off type variable. So then we're going to fire remote event, and we're going to fire the toggle 1, which is going to fire true, and we're going to fire false. And this second variable right here is supposed to indicate if a player has been hit by the shadow sneak. And then we're going to set the toggle 1 equal to false. Then we're going to set toggle 2 equal to true, just so we can help us with our run service that we'll be using below. And I'll explain more why we have this here. And then we're going to set the body velocity parent to the human's report, so we can start adjusting it. And then if they hit it again while they're in the shadow form, then we're gonna so we don't need this here. Just comment this out. We need this here. So what we're gonna do here, we're basically gonna fire remote event again, fire false, because toggle 1 is gonna be false this time because we changed it here. Then we're gonna set it equal to true, so if they fire again, it's gonna fire this. And then we're gonna set toggle 2 equal to false, and we're gonna set the body velocity's max force, and we're just gonna reset it. So vector3.new. And now inside of our render step, basically what we're doing here is these variables are basically coming from here, right? So if not control toggle 2, then return n. So if it's false, and if control toggle 1 is true, then we'll return n. This will only run when the toggle is essentially false. Toggle 1 is false. So what we're gonna do here is we're basically gonna set the max force for the body velocity. And we're basically going to set it to 400,000, 400,000, because we don't want to be able to go in the air with it or something like that. We want to be able to stay on the ground while we're with it. And then we're going to create our array, and we're going to make our array with our character, with our human report position, change sequence to position. Make vector3.new. We're going to see how we want the array to be, and we made the array point downwards by 180 studs. And we're going to make the params, which we have up here. That is blacklisting our character. Then we're gonna do if main array. So if we're on the ground, then we're gonna so this is basically just for like fun. So you don't need this here. You can remove all this and just do time speed. But I just put this here because I just want to try out some other things. So I put math.cosine. Then I just put I. And if you put like tangent or sine, then it can change the speed. But overall, this is you can just change this part to however you like. You can make this just time speed. And then all we're gonna do here is we're gonna loop through our. Basically, we're going to loop through our radius, so we're going to check who is within our radius. And then if we find a human within our radius, then we're going to set the then we're going to basically reset everything that we did. So we're going to reset our movement speed with body velocity, and we're going to set the values back to normal. So then we're going to fire remote event with control toggle 2, which is going to fire false because we want to remove the effect because we hit a player. And then we're going to fire true because we actually hit a player. And then we're going to go to the server side. So on the server side, we're gonna get our services, we're gonna get our debounce, our trash tables, basically what we're gonna be using to basically dispose of some things, and our trans table, which is basically gonna help us with basically like transparency and making our character invisible, and duration of cooldown. And this duration of cooldown will work if you change the variable numbers. So basically, this function here is just basically making the character invisible, and this will make the character visible. Not really too much to say. And this right here will just basically change the jump power of the character, because we want them jumping farther in shadow sneak so they can try to get an advantage on somebody. We want to make it pretty fair. And then what we're gonna do here, we're gonna do basically just run our on-server event, fire our player, our input, which is gonna be our control toggle, and then we're gonna fire our hit player, so if it hits the player or not. So if this is true and not hit player, then basically this is basically saying that we basically are using the move now, and we're going into a shadow sneak. We're gonna change the jump power so they can't jump, and basically all we're gonna do here is we're gonna basically basically parent the effect to us, so it looks, so the effect is in our human root part. And what we're gonna do here is make our character invisible so they can't see us, and we're moving while the effect is on us. And then if not input, and if we actually hit the player while we're in this form, then we're basically going to remove that. We're going to remove that little effect on us, and then we're going to disconnect our trash 2 player. And our trash 2 player is basically going to be our run service down here, which is basically going to help us with the duration. It basically tells it how long our duration is going to be, so we're going to stop that and disconnect it so it doesn't run no more. Then we're going to make our character back invisible, and then we're going to change our jump speed back, our jump power back to normal. And then we're going to loop through the radius again, and all we're doing here is we're going to loop through the radius like how we did in the local script as well here. And we're going to find the closest person within 10 studs, and then what we're going to do, so that person that you find within 10 studs is going to be that person that you hit. Then we're gonna check we find a humanoid, and all we're gonna do is we're gonna put that little huge effect, that huge darkness effect on that player's position, on the human root part's position. And then we're gonna make it look a little bit nice. We're gonna position it just a little bit upwards, and then we're gonna take damage 5. And then we're gonna basically do Debris, and then we're gonna add item, finish effect, and we're gonna fire 2 as well. So after 2 seconds, it's gonna disappear. Then we're gonna start debounce player equal to true, and then we're gonna do tap to delay cooldown functions. This is basically gonna help our cooldown. So whatever our cooldown is gonna be, let's say our cooldown is 3, and after we use this move, the cooldown will actually start after you actually hit the player. So then what we're gonna do here, we're gonna basically, so if they hit the move and they're using the move, and if they hit the move again, right, and they want to get out the move, then we're gonna remove it from the character, from the human root part, the effects. We're gonna set the jump power back to normal, disconnect our duration, a little duration effect, and then we're gonna make the character back to being visible. Set debounce player equal to true, and then we're gonna start the cooldown for them. And then basically what we have down here, trash 2 player, is basically gonna be our duration that we said before. And what we're gonna do here is basically when this fires, is gonna basically see when this gets to 5 or whatever our duration is. Then we're gonna basically make the character we're gonna make them visible again. Then we're gonna fire client, and then we're gonna disconnect the trash 2 player, and then we're gonna set their jump power back to normal. So then we're also gonna do what we're also gonna do here. We're gonna remove the effect from them, so they can't use the effect no more. We're gonna reset save equal to tick. So when we fire this fire client. But basically what we're going to do here is basically we're saying that we want to reset everything back to normal. So all we're going to do here is we're going to reset everything back to normal in the client side. And that's basically how you make shadow stick. If you guys have any questions, if you guys want some quick access to this move, just join the Discord down below and you'll get full access to this whole thing. So it'll be easy for you guys to understand. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like down below. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I put a lot of work and effort into this to make it nice for you guys. Well, love you guys. Have a nice night. Have a nice morning. Stay up.